Great to see myself. Welcome everyone this morning. Just making sure that all of our technical live streams are operational. Okay. It looks like we are good.
Great. Welcome everybody to our community meeting to prepare for giving public comment to the City Council today at 2 p.m. We're going to walk everyone through the process of signing up and discuss the latest updates in the Starbucks union struggle. My name is Bia. I'm a I'm a community organizer in Councilmember Sawant's office. Today we'll be hearing from union organizer Sydney Durkin at the Seattle Starbucks store on Broadway and Denny that's organizing, and we'll be hearing from other community organizers in our council office about what everyone can do to support Starbucks workers in their really exciting and courageous struggle. First, we have a very important update, which as some of you may have seen, just this morning, we heard that Starbucks executives are firing workers who are part of the union organizing leadership at a Starbucks store in Memphis, Tennessee. The Memphis Starbucks workers announced their union campaign on Martin Luther King Jr. Day last month, linking their fight for a union and better working conditions to King's unwavering fight for the poor, the working class, and the oppressed under capitalism. Starbucks is retaliating against these workers for speaking to local media about their courageous unionizing effort against one of the most powerful corporations in the world. This outrageous retaliation by Starbucks executives against their own employees shows more clearly than ever why progressive elected representatives need to urgently take a stand against the shameful union busting by Starbucks. In our public comment today, we need to tell every single Democrat on the City Council that if they claim to be progressive, they will vote yes on Councilmember Sawant's resolution for an end to Starbucks executives' union busting attacks. Before we hear from our other speakers, we're going to show a video of an extremely important interview with Brittany Harrison, a Starbucks worker who was fired in November for exposing Starbucks union busting plans in a meeting with managers. Harrison, who has cancer, was forced to work while sick, denied paid leave, and had her health insurance canceled. This video demonstrates the sickening lengths to which Starbucks executives are willing to go to punish and abuse their employees, especially those who attempt to expose the company's shameless tactics. We'll play that video now.
So October 14th, we had this meeting that was supposed to be about the fall launch, but it wasn't. And I was like, yeah, I need to record this meeting because I'm going to have to pull off and support my team. I'm going to need to refer back to this. I don't want to miss anything because this is such an important launch. And so I started recording. I did not realize what I was going to record.
We're a huge company. You would love to get a hold of us. How much money they would make off of us?
The meeting started with my district manager saying, let's talk about what's going on in Buffalo. It kind of all unraveled from there, and they started talking about the union, why the union is bad, why the union doesn't align with Starbucks missions and values, why partners who want to be part of the union aren't true partners to Starbucks. The union was painted in a very negative light, which made me uncomfortable because I have family that's in union. And so I'm sitting there while she's talking about how unions are like the Catholic Church because you have to talk to a priest if you want to talk to God, just like in unions, you have to talk to a union representative if you want to talk to anyone. None of this makes sense. None of these things are appropriate to say. And you're saying how all of these partners want more than what they deserve. I was asking to have fewer days. I was asking for what my other options were. I was told I could go on a leave of absence, but those are unpaid. And also you would have to pay your benefits out of your own pocket. And also you couldn't get a second job because then Starbucks wouldn't be required to give you benefits, which obviously wouldn't work for me because I can't be unpaid and paying bills, right? I remember calling my district manager in tears. I was like, I don't have family. I don't have friends. I have no one. What am I supposed to do? I called out on Thursday, and obviously me being sick is a big deal. We have pregnant partners and partners with young kids, but I can't risk it. And so I stayed home and told her I'm supposed to open my store on Friday. I can't. Like, I would not pass health code. If a health inspector came in, they would take my temperature and they would immediately send me home and shut the store down. Was met with no response. She wasn't answering my phone calls, wouldn't return my messages, anything. And so I went in to open my store on Friday because what else was I supposed to do? I had a fever of 100.6. I had a sore throat. I was running back and forth to the bathroom. I was sending all of these text messages to my district manager that were like, I'm sick. Here's a picture of the thermometer that I took my temperature with. And couldn't get off the floor. I was so sick and I could not hold it and I could not go to the bathroom because we were so short-staffed and I couldn't get someone to come in to cover me. And I pooped myself and I couldn't leave because I couldn't get anyone to come in and cover me. This assistant manager calls the district manager and she's like, they're short-staffed. This store is disgusting. It's a disaster. Our district manager said, just close the lobby, turn off mobile orders. It's totally okay. Except I wasn't allowed to do that 10 minutes ago. I wasn't allowed to do that before I pooped my pants at my store in front of my team. Why are we so anti-union? Like, this didn't make sense to me because the union doesn't affect the way that managers do their jobs. It just benefits partners. But I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, like, I'm complicit in this. I know these things, and if I don't say them to someone, I'm just as bad as the people who are saying them. And I shared some clips from the meeting that I had taken on my phone, and she was like, what is this meeting that you were in? And I was like, I don't know. All of the managers are apparently having this meeting right now. I was also the only manager in Arizona who apparently recorded that meeting. I guess it was kind of easy to narrow down that I was a whistleblower, which I didn't think of myself as until they started calling me, asking if I was the whistleblower. It definitely felt like an inquisition. It felt like I was in trouble for doing something that actually aligns with one of Starbucks' missions and values, which is acting with courage and challenging the status quo, which is what I felt like I was doing. I was standing up for my fellow partners, and I was in trouble for it. But they couldn't come out and say that I was in trouble for it, so they had to find some other reason for me to be in trouble. I went home and put in my resignation because this company clearly did not care about me. My district manager called me and was like, hey, I know you put in your notice. Are you still going to work these final 2 weeks? And I said, yes, absolutely. And then she called me at like 9 o'clock and told me, I talked to corporate, and our policy is that if there's an open investigation against you and you put in your notice, we are to terminate you immediately. So effective 11/14, you have been separated from Starbucks. And I said, what open investigation? And she said, I can't talk to you about that because it happened in my district, so you're going to have to call corporate and talk to them.
So when I learned that she was terminated, I was pissed off. I feel rightfully so. And we didn't know why. I mean, the partners that were around us and the shift team believed that it was because of her cancer. It really brought a lot of our shift supervisors together, and we started talking about like an action plan. Like, what can we do? What can we, think of that would actually help us? And the one thing that actually helped us was reaching out to Buffalo, because we felt like having a support network is what we really needed. We were talking about it. We were discussing it. After shift meetings, we were talking about unionizing. We even before Harrison had gotten sick, but it was something that really pushed us to actually reach out and, start the initiative as soon as that we found out, okay, she's terminated. We need to do something. Otherwise, corporate's going to run us over.
So we'll go now to Adam from our office, who's going to talk more about the political context of what's going on right now with these updates in the Starbucks union movement and what we can all do to get organized and fight back. I think that video clearly shows that the only real response to Starbucks union busting is community solidarity, getting organized, and workers from Buffalo reaching out and working with these workers in Arizona who now are unionizing. And I think that that's really critical. And Adam's going to talk more about that now. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, Bea, and thank you everybody who's able to join us, and especially thank you to Starbucks workers for the courageous union organizing work that you're doing. This video does show just how brutal Starbucks is willing to be in their union busting, and how critical it is that workers, union members, community leaders, and electeds who claim to be on the side of Starbucks workers, how critical it is that they do take a clear stand in support, in solidarity with these workers. Seattle City Council members, of course, today have a duty to vote yes on the resolution. If we succeed through our pressure in passing this through the City Council, it will add significant momentum, including for the elected officials, Sicho Lopez, others in Chicago, others in Minneapolis, who are bringing forward similar resolutions. We know that there's huge community support. Seattle City Council so far has received more than 800 emails from workers and supportive community members. But we also have many years of experience with supposedly progressive Democrats claiming to support working people and then maneuvering behind the scenes oftentimes to avoid actually doing anything concrete about it, to avoid voting yes in support of these resolutions. It is essential that we have the strongest possible community voice today in support of this resolution. So please, if you're watching this, sign up for public comment in about 15 minutes, and we'll have, of course, Nick Jones from our office show people exactly how to do this. The stronger we are in winning this vote, the more pressure will be added to Democratic council members in Chicago, in Minneapolis. And we don't want to stop there. Just like other victories, Fight for 15, Amazon tax, have propelled other cities to take action, we hope that resolutions are in fact passed over the next weeks and months in dozens of cities across the country. Basically, wherever Starbucks workers are organizing, we should have a movement that can force elected officials to put their money where their mouth is and stand in solidarity. And it's also critical that those of us watching who are in unions, We're in community organizations, faith groups, anywhere we can add grassroots pressure, working class support for workers, pressure on Starbucks to stop their union busting, to motivate workers to keep up this fight, then we should do it. Obviously, this most recent attack, warrants the firing of workers organizing in Memphis, warrants a real urgent response. We think it's necessary to call rallies in the cities, especially that are organizing for a union, to defend the workers who've been retaliated against, to do everything in our power to win back those jobs. Without a massive public and sustained movement-driven response, then the message to workers in the face of this attack will be that they can be themselves also attacked and even fired potentially for trying to unionize. On the other hand, we've seen that if there is a powerful public response, to defend these workers and their jobs, then we can make Starbucks pay for this shameful, cruel attack, and it can actually add tremendous confidence to workers trying to organize if we are able to defend that. And as workers are making the case for a union, one of the ways we've found to get as many workers and even also community members, other working class people on board, time and time again, is by appealing to the concrete needs and demands that Starbucks workers so obviously have at this critical time, which is super important for overcoming the lies that we know Starbucks execs all across the country are trumpeting over and over again, that unions only want your money, that they'll make promises, but they don't actually improve workers' lives. Now, we know this is a complete lie, that all the information, all the stats demonstrate that unions massively improve workers' lives in every way. But in order to effectively demonstrate this, linking the fight for a union with the concrete fight for better wages, better tipping mechanisms, fair scheduling, other urgent needs, is what inspires people to get involved, is what inspires people to fight for and ultimately vote for a union. We think this was powerfully shown in Buffalo when the store that voted to unionize recently held a 5-day strike and won as a result paid COVID isolation time, not just for their store, but for all Starbucks stores. This is an example that can be repeated in other places that are organizing. Now, we know that Starbucks workers have tremendous momentum, and it's extremely exciting. From the 2 stores that voted to unionize, we now have workers at least 65 stores now formally fighting for a union. There are undoubtedly workers at many, many more actively considering whether or not to join the fight. But we also know that Starbucks will continue union busting over the next weeks and months to come. And it won't always look like it did in Memphis, where they're firing people. In other stores, we've heard about fear mongering being coupled with blatant divide and conquer tactics. We've even heard of some workers being actively wined and dined by their supervisor in an effort to get them to oppose or at least stand on the sidelines of this unionizing effort. Now, Starbucks, of course, wants to do all this in the shadows. It's in the spotlight now, and we're here, of course, to raise that spotlight, to shine the light, to force City Council to pass this resolution declaring that they're opposed to Starbucks union busting. We also know that Starbucks will attempt to delay, to starve this movement of its momentum, to tire activists and courageous Starbucks workers out, and to isolate the ones who've unionized. They'll aggressively fight to prevent unionized stores from passing a contract, especially one with wage gains, changes to scheduling and tipping, all those things that we've talked about and that Starbucks workers are so urgently needing, and the reason why they're organizing into a union in the first place. Now, at every possibility, and I'll just end with this, Starbucks workers will need to feel the solidarity. They'll need to be putting pressure as much as possible on the company. That's why our socialist office, making use of the city resources that we have, making use of our council position, we're putting forward this resolution to actively stand in solidarity with workers, but then to help organize community wherever possible, to also stand in solidarity to go beyond, of course, just the Seattle City Council, spread it to other cities, and ultimately what we're hoping to do is aid rank and file workers in their organizing efforts. So that's why it's so exciting that we're having this community meeting, and really exciting that we have, I know, a Starbucks worker, Sydney, who is going to talk to us very briefly about the experiences they've had organizing and about the importance of this resolution in solidarity. So I don't know if it's going back to B or directly to Sydney, but I'll leave my comments at there.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you everyone for being here. My name is Sydney. I'm a worker at Starbucks Broadway and Denny in Capitol Hill. And yeah, we have been dealing with a lot of what you have seen in that video, not to the extent, obviously, that store had to face it, or that stores in Buffalo, or obviously our stores in Memphis that are facing horrible, unjust firings for union activity here today. We are still dealing with many of these things at our store. We are dealing with meetings, we're dealing with intimidation. I personally have received a final written warning for union activity, and they will continue to escalate. I think what they are doing today with firing those in Memphis is testing the waters. They are seeing what they can get away with, even if they know they eventually have to reinstate these workers, or if there will be public outcry that has them to think that idea. They're still trying to push the envelope of what they can get away with in their union busting, and they will continue to do this unless there is intense public outcry against it. And we thank Councilmember Sawant for introducing this resolution, and today we urge all of those to vote yes on it in a simple act of solidarity, just to stand with us. The more solidarity we have, the more community support we have, the better fighting chance we have in this fight against those who seek to destroy what we are fighting for. And what we were fighting for, again, as Adam was saying, is very concrete. We have very clear demands. We want higher wages. We want better scheduling. We want better tipping mechanisms. And we want sick pay and sick leave that works for us, that we're actually allowed to take. We want our stores to feel safe for customers and ourselves. And we want our jobs to have security and longevity that they currently do not possess. And all of those things demonstrably can be affected by having a union. And when we stand together, we have those powers, but we need all support we can have. They're going to try to starve us out. As Adam was saying, 100% that is their goal. They're trying to out-lawyer us. They're trying to out-energize us. They're trying to out-pace us. And I know that a lot of us that are working on these campaigns are burnt out. You know, they are work beyond what we already do, that we work at a job that we've already decided burns us out enough that we want a union to try to fix it. And we have to do a lot of outside things on top of that. And we're passionate about that and we really believe in it, but there's only so much we as workers can do on top of what we're already doing. So it really does take the entire community. It really does take everyone to stand with us to make this possible, or else they may succeed in trying to burn us out with these intimidation and scare tactics. And that is something I think none of us want to see. So once again, thank you all. And please sign up for public comment today. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alvin. I'm a community organizer in Councilmember Sawant's office. Just want to talk about the absolutely overwhelming amount of community support that exists for the Starbucks workers, you know, fighting to unionize, fighting for better wages, better benefits, and better rights. It's been absolutely phenomenal. We've been tabling at several locations throughout Seattle, at the Broadway, right across the Broadway and Denny store, Sydney store, at Fifth and Pine, in the U District, all across the city, in every single city council district, and the response has just been absolutely overwhelming. So far, our community petition at the table has received over 350 signatures. Like Adam mentioned, you know, over 800 emails have been sent already in support of this legislation, which is really just showing, you know, how excited people are and how urgent this legislation is to support Starbucks workers as the unionization drives, you know, continues to get more and more stores also filing for union elections. Just from, you know, everyday people, like we've been having so many amazing conversations. We've been talking to other workers in the restaurant and service industry who are inspired by the courageous actions of the Starbucks workers. I've had several conversations where, someone working as a line cook in a restaurant said, we've been talking about a union. We've been thinking about a union for so many years, and it seems impossible, like in this historically, ununionized sector. And we all know the level of exploitation that exists in the service industry. And that worker said, what the Starbucks workers are doing is giving all of us an example of how we can fight against these like awful wages and benefits, and really fight for dignity in the workplace. We've talked to several union members who instinctively are like, I'm in a union. The union has made my life better, has made my family's life better, and I support anytime other workers are fighting for a better union or fighting to form a union. And we've also been talking to other Starbucks workers who have been thinking other volunteers who are building solidarity among the wider community, saying that they're also seeing this support is absolutely it makes a difference, because like we saw in that video, that we know Starbucks corporate is trying as hard as they can to isolate individual workers and in stores from unionizing, and being able to see the amount of support that exists is a big boost in morale, and also really just shows that this is something that affects all of us, the wider community. As we are coming up to the sign up period, we're urging everyone who's watching this, if you haven't already, send an email to City Council and urge them to vote yes, and most importantly, speak if you're able to in support of this resolution. It's just absolutely phenomenal. This is such an easy vote for the Democrats on council. If they support unions, if they are pro-labor, this should be very simple. This should align with everything, all their rhetoric that they have been saying. So we're coming up, right to the public sign-up period where it is opening up. If please stick around. Nick is going to walk us through how to sign up for public comment. And again, not only when you're giving your public comment, it's not just you that's speaking, it's the hundreds of community members. They're also speaking in support. They've already signed down, that aren't able to speak for whatever reason. You are speaking for them, and they have your back, and building solidarity with Starbucks workers. So with that, I'll kick it over to Nick.
All right, thank you so much, Alvin. Thank you, everyone that's spoken this morning, everyone who's here at the live stream. I'm going to share my screen now so we can all get prepared to give public comment. So hopefully folks should be able to get to this page. This is where we all need to go to be able to sign up to speak today at the 2 p.m. City Council meeting. The form for public comment should go live in just a moment here. So everyone, me on your phone, on your browser, whatever. It should be easy to find. Whatever you're using, you should be able to type in Seattle public comment in the search bar. And it should be the first link. On every browser I've tested, it's always the first link, the seattle.gov URL. Click that, and you'll be able to scroll down. You'll see this little dialog box here. That will go live in just a moment. So I'll be refreshing alongside everyone as we hopefully are able to sign up right away to ensure that we will be able to speak today during the council meeting. And yeah, just to even give people some helpful tips for giving public comment, definitely, as others have said, say your name, who you are, and importantly, if you're a member of a community organization, a union, a faith organization, anything that really speaks to wider layers that really want to see this resolution pass and stand in solidarity with workers unionizing at Starbucks, but also workers, fighting for a union in tons of sectors across the nation. This is a fantastic way for us to do it. Definitely bring that up. Tons of unions have already signed on to support this resolution. The Martin Luther King Labor Council sent a letter. Many other unions like WFC 1488, Protect 17, UAW, I believe. I'm going to forget others. So sorry if your union is on there and I have it slipped my mind. but we've gotten tons of endorsements. Really exciting. Shows the huge momentum at our backs. CWA as well. And definitely, yeah, if you're a member of any of those unions or different union, let City Council know that union solidarity, worker solidarity is our strongest tool as working class people to make change. Also, definitely what we want to highlight is just letting every council member know, vote yes on Councilmember Sawant's resolution standing with Starbucks workers. Oh, the form is live. And really highlighting that, saying Councilmember Sawant is not about ego or anything. It shows the council members hear that, and what they hear is that people are paying attention to who's fighting for them, who's bringing things forward that we want to see passed. It puts extra pressure on them to pass it. So everyone should have this dialogue box open now. Put in, your name, last name, whatever your email address is. Whatever, it should be very accessible. Whatever you put in here is where you're going to get an email sent to you from the City Council with the information about how to join the meeting to give public comment. So you'll get an email. It should have a call-in number at the bottom you can use. So you'll be able to call in, and then there's some passcodes at the bottom. I find it really helpful to write those passcodes down, so I don't have to switch between little windows on my phone. But you should be able to put those in and join the call right at 2. Whatever the last 5 digits of the phone you're going to be calling in will also be important. This is how you'll be recognized in the meeting by the IT team and the clerk to know how to unmute you. So make sure that this is reflective of the phone you'll be calling in with. And then for this stuff, you can just click this, write whatever you want here. I put in something small and punchy. But even if I don't give public comment, people will see what I was meaning to call in about. And the City Council will be able to see all that. And if the whole spreadsheet is all tons of people signing in to stand in solidarity with Starbucks workers, that can be really powerful. Yeah, and just even some last thoughts. If we can do this here, we are in Starbucks' backyard in Seattle, in our office district 3. Howard Schultz lives in our district. Imagine what kind of waves we could send across the nation passing even this resolution here, to give, heart and fire to all the workers in Starbucks and coffee stores everywhere that are looking to unionize. At our tables, I've talked to a lot of Starbucks workers at different places around the city who, definitely hit submit if you haven't already, then you should be all good. A lot of workers who are talking actively about getting organized in their workplace haven't filed yet, but we see if a resolution like this, if we can create more momentum, we can really give people the confidence to stand up and take that next step. So it's no small thing. If you're able to add your voice today, I think it really will make a massive difference to continuing this really historic drive at Starbucks stores. So yeah, definitely sign up, and we look forward to hearing from you at 2 p.m. when the City Council will happen. So until then, take a moment to write your thoughts down. Prepared. Everyone will probably have about 1 minute to speak, so keep that in mind. Yeah, solidarity, everyone. Thank you again so much for joining it this morning, and take care.